Hi, I'm John DeBach from WPJon, and today we're talking about backing up your WordPress site. Boop, 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 backing it up, backing it up, backing it up, I'm backing it up. I don't know if you can tell, but the boop, boop, boop was like a truck backing up.
Do you ever find that when you have to explain jokes, it just totally ruins them? Totally ruins them?
We're going to show you an easy way with a free plugin on how to back up your WordPress site so that if a hacker, one of those evil hackers comes and just hacks up your site, you know how to restore it. That's right here, right now on WPJon. Bloop, bloop.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm John DeBach. I've been building websites for companies and bloggers for over 10 years. Here on WPJon, I teach you everything I know about WordPress and digital marketing so you can create amazing freaking websites that make money, money, money. Okay, so you have a beautiful WordPress website. You've spent time designing it and installing the perfect theme and plugins, and you got your colors set, and then you actually wrote all the content for your pages, and then it's gone. What is that about? Somebody steals your site or hacks it, or maybe there's a plugin that's a piece of software that broke or wasn't updated, or maybe you accidentally deleted something you didn't mean to, and then you started going in and you ruined the functions PHP file, and because you read it on a blog or a forum, and now a whole site is broken. What do you do? Well, you don't have a backup, you don't really do much. That's the truth. You just kind of sit there and cry for a while and then contemplate the choices you made in your life that have led you to this horrible moment. Let's take a moment to do that contemplating, shall we? Okay, that's enough contemplating. But what you should do, or what you should have done, is make a backup of your website. And that's what we're going to go over here right now on the test website that we've been making throughout this whole WordPress tutorial series. Backing up your WordPress site should be something you do at a somewhat regular level, but the most important time to do it is when you're done and you're launched. So if you've been working on making a WordPress site and you just launched, that's a perfect time to make a backup, because at the worst case scenario, you're going to at least have a backup of your launch, which is great because you know you're going to be happy at your launch, right? But you should be making backups on a regular level. There are several plugins that do this. I use Backup Buddy quite a bit. I've been using it for years. It's a premium plugin, so I wanted to give people a free option, and that's what we're going over now. It's going to be using a plugin called UpDraft Plus. One word, UpDraft Plus. So let's hop into the website and see where we can download it, how it works, and all the cool features it has so that you know exactly how to do it and back up your site like a pro backup person. Number 6, and the crowd goes wild for the backup master. Let's do it. All right. So here we are in the test WordPress site. And if you look at the plugins directory, I'm going to show you, I've already taken the liberty of installing the plugin. It's called UpDraft Plus, but I wanted you to see what it looks like, and also remind you that you have to spell it with one word, because otherwise, if you spell it with 2 words, another plugin comes up first. Talk about annoying for UpDraft Plus, right? I mean, that's obnoxious when someone shows up for your own name because people just put a natural space in it. I wonder how long I can do this face before you get annoyed and watch another video. We're going to go back to this. And so here's what you do. You go to the plugins thing. If you're new to plugins and you need to watch a video on how plugins work, I have one of those because I am trying to take care of you. But if you know how plugins work, this is where you do it. You just type in UpDraft Plus in the plugin repository search field. And then this guy right there, UpDraft Plus, is the one you want. You can go ahead and click active. Or not active, excuse me. It'll say install now for you. Active. You haven't installed it yet. That's why you're here. It's not going to say active. It's going to say install now. And then it'll say activate. And then when you push the blue button, then it'll be active. So once it's active, you're going to see that it doesn't have its own menu on the left-hand side here. So you're going to need to find it under settings. So on the settings, it's the bottom one. That's where you're going to set up all your settings for the UpDraft Plus backups. Now, when you first install it, it'll walk you through a little, like, this is where this is where this is, like a tour with these pop-ups, which I thought was actually pretty helpful, but it definitely left a little bit to be desired, which is why I'm making this video. But the easiest way to use it is just to click the backup now. So we're going to do that in a second, but one thing I want to show you is that you have a tab here in the settings, and if you click on it, you'll have the option to manually set the backups whenever you click on it, or to do it on a scheduled basis. So you could files backup and database backup. Now, if you're new to backing up your WordPress site, it's important to note that there's two types of backups typically. There's one that backs up all your files, which is all of your images, your themes, your plugins, everything typically. And then there's just the database backup. The database backup is a much smaller file size, and if you're going to keep rolling backups of your website, typically that's what you want to store, because otherwise not only does it take a long time to create the backup, but you're suddenly going to have this huge monstrous like archive of websites, and you're not going to need it because you're not going to go to every single point. And generally speaking, your theme doesn't change that much. Some of your images may change from time to time, but most people will make kind of regular backups of their whole site every month or 2 months, but they'll make daily or even like weekly backups of their database. It really depends on how often you're writing new content. So if you are the kind of guy who writes a blog every day, you're probably going to want to make daily database backups so that if your site does go offline, you have a backup of every single day and you could just roll back. So that's the difference between database and files backup. And the good thing about this plugin is you get to choose what kind you want, and you can set it to back up automatically. So here you'll see under manual, that's if you want to do it by hand, or you could do it every 2 hours even, daily, weekly, fortnightly. This plugin is awesome. Or monthly. I love how they skip the bi-weekly or every 2 weeks and just go from fortnightly to monthly. I mean, come on. There's not even like, I don't know. And isn't fortnight 3 days? Shouldn't that be before weekly? This is a joke, right? Is it not? This is freaking me out. I didn't even notice this fortnightly thing here, to be honest. Okay, so since this is a test website, I'm not going to be doing a lot of backups, or any of them I'm going to do manually. And then this is really great. This is one of the best things about this plugin that everybody loves. It's this choose your remote storage option. How thoughtful is this? If you're like everyone on the internet ever, you probably have a remote storage solution. I use Dropbox and I use Google Drive quite a bit for different reasons. I love Google Sheets and kind of the spreadsheets, but I got very heavily invested into having a Dropbox account and find that it just syncs a little quicker with my files. So I use both of them, and I use Dropbox for things like my backups. So you have the option with the free one to actually dynamically link your Dropbox account so that when it makes a backup, it stores it in your Dropbox account for you. How convenient is that? So before we even run through a backup, I want to show you how to connect it. It's really simple. You just click on the service you want. In this case, I'm going to click on Dropbox. So let's go over how to dynamically link your Dropbox account. It's pretty similar for all these different services, but Dropbox tends to be the most popular. So we're going to do it for Dropbox, and I have a Dropbox account ready because I use it. So we're going to actually do it for you and show you how simple it is. So what we're going to do first is click on the Dropbox link, and then scroll all the way down. You have some different settings you might want to look at, but really the defaults are just fine. And then click on Save Changes. Once you click on Save Changes, it'll come up with this modal, and you're going to have to follow the link to actually connect it to your Dropbox. It's going to log in remotely to your Dropbox account, and you'll approve its access. So we're going to click on this link right here to allow the connection to instigate. We'll give it a second, and here it says to complete the setup, take you back, and then let's read. So you will then be able to send her the button. Will take you here. Please read. Complete setup. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Sorry, I forgot what the text said, so I needed to read it to remind myself if there was another step. But there's not another step. Since I'm already logged into Dropbox, I think it dynamically did it. So we're going to click Complete Setup, and then it's done. So now if we go under settings, you'll see Dropbox is highlighted because it's dynamically connected. How cool is that? Now that Dropbox is connected, we can actually run a backup and either download it to our hard drive on our computer or send it to Dropbox. Let me show you how that works. You just go back into the Backup Restore tab over here, and you click on the big blue backup button. And it's going to ask you, do you want to include the database in your backup? Yes. That's all the kind of posts and pages and settings. Do you want to include the files in your backup, which is all your images and your themes? Yes. And then do you want to send this backup to remote storage? And the answer is yes, because we took the time to connect Dropbox. So all those are good. Now, only allow this backup to be deleted manually. So that is a good thing to talk about real quickly. It has a setting that you have a certain amount of backups that are stored on your server, on your host. And if you set a regularity to automatically back up your website, it's also going to automatically delete some of them because otherwise it'll just get too much for your host to host all those files. I have certain websites that I've been managing for a number of years, and there's several gigabytes at this point in terms of information and file backups and everything. So if they did daily backups every day, at the end of a year, they'd have over, close to a terabyte of backups on their site. That's just ridiculous. So they only need to kind of keep one key one every month and whatever. So if you check this box, it'll only allow this particular backup to be deleted manually and not auto-delete after you've gotten like 5 backups, and then it deletes the last one when it gets a new one, or whatever your settings that you choose are. So I'm going to click yes on this because this is a launch backup, and I do want to have this as one that's stored on the server. It's also a somewhat small size for the website, so it won't slow down the host. So then after you do all that, you just click the Backup Now button right there, and it starts the backup. At this point, I recommend getting a delicious cup of cappuccino and enjoying yourself while you wait. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm just pretending the cappuccino is here. Excuse me. What is the appeal of cappuccino? It's foam, right? I mean, if anybody ever came up to you and said, "Do you want to drink foam?" You'd be like, "Foam? Like spit? But in dense form?" I don't get it. But it is tasty. It is tasty. That's what people tell me. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm not sure. Is our backup done yet? Yes! Our backup is done. Let's take a look at what it looks like. So if you look on the backup screen now, you'll see the blue bar has finished, and now we have under existing backups, we have this backup. Now what's interesting about this plugin, and it's different from Backup Buddy, is it actually splits up your backup into several different zip files, which I thought was really interesting and useful. And I might actually switch to them because they do this, because it's actually pretty nifty. So under the backup, you'll see it has database, plugins, themes, uploads, and others. So if you wanted to restore just your plugins, you can actually restore just those from a particular backup if you've run your backup. Whereas if you just want to back up the database or update, restore the database, even if you've made a full backup, you can choose, I just need the database. So you don't have to kind of waste time uploading and downloading all these extra things. Now you can click on any one of these things to download it individually, and you'll see that once you've clicked on it, you get this pop-up. It says download DB, DB being short for database, and you can download it to your computer, or if you click on it, you can delete it from your server if you're trying to free up space on your hosting account. The other thing you'll notice is that down here, you have a blue Dropbox icon, which means that it was successfully sent to Dropbox. Pretty nifty, right? So let's take a look at where it is, because it might be a little confusing if you're new to this whole dynamic link thing. In your Dropbox folder, which is over here, you'll notice that you have a folder called Apps. If you don't have one, it'll actually create one for you. In the Apps folder, you will have a UpDraftPlus.com folder. And then in that folder are these backups. These are the same backups that I made just 2 minutes ago on my website. Pretty nifty. So now if something happens to your website and you just lose control over it altogether, you still have it without even having to save it at all. It does it for you. It's brilliant. And that's it. That's all there is to backing up your website. Now you might be wondering, well, how do I restore the files, right? Let's say something does happen. That's also just as easy. So what we're going to do to kind of test this out is I'm going to go to my pages, and I'm actually going to delete all the pages. So I'm just going to click the select all, and under actions, I'm going to hit move to trash and apply. So as soon as I do that, all the pages are gone. They've just disappeared. They're in the trash, technically speaking, but there's no way for me to go and restore them. You know what? Let's live dangerously. Let's actually delete them from even the trash. We'll delete them permanently and apply. So now there's no way to restore those pages. Let's say you had a very angry employee or a hacker and he just deleted everything. Now we have a backup. So assuming that you downloaded it from your Dropbox, or maybe the person or the reason it was infiltrated didn't delete your backups from your plugin, we'll go back to setting and back to UpDraft Plus backups, and we'll see that it's still there. There's the database and the plugins. Now all my plugins and themes and uploads are still there, so I don't need to restore that. I just need the pages, which is part of the database. So if I click on restore, I'm going to just choose the database. And then as soon as I hit check, or I check that box, I just click on next and follow the prompts. It's going to say warnings. It may be corrupt. Let's see. Different size than expected. I'm not sure why that warning is, but it seems like there's a slight difference in size, but it's pretty minimal. It's only 43 to 39, so you're talking about teeny tiny bytes. So I'm pretty sure this will still be okay. So we'll click the restore button, and then it does it. It does it for you automatically. It has all these fun things, and then as soon as we hit return to UpDraft Plus configuration, I think it should be done. So if we click on pages, you'll see back in the pages, boom, they're all there. That's as easy as it is. And the site is restored to its previous glory. I think it's important to celebrate your victories, so I'm celebrating. Yes! I'm going to go have another imaginary cup of cappuccino to celebrate for reals. But that's all there is to backing up your site. You can even check out their more premium features, which the main reason people upgrade UpDraft Plus is because they have a great migration plugin. So if you're making a website on like a temporary domain and you need to move it to your real domain, that's a service that they have on a premium add-on. Otherwise, it gets a little tricky with renaming your database. It gets a little technical. But if you're just restoring your website to your own website, if you're not moving it, then this free one is totally workable and works fantastic, and it comes with a free connection. The other reason you might want to connect or get a premium upgrade of UpDraft Plus is if you want to restore it to 2 remote locations. So let's say you want to restore it in your Dropbox, but then you also have a company intranet folder access to your Google Drive. So you want to update them in 2 places automatically. Their premium add-ons do allow for multiple locations. But most people, I find, just need to back it up in one place and they're fine. And if they need to download a manual copy to their hard drive, they're good to go. That's all there really is to it. You have a nice backed up site now. Go celebrate, and rest assured that even if someone comes to steal your website in the middle of the night like a bastard, you are taken care of. I'm John DeBach with WPJon. I hope you enjoyed this little video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time right here on WPJon's YouTube channel. Bye-bye.